Hello, I'm Ed Mayo from Cooperatives UK, and I want to wish you the very best for the day that you have. I'd like to touch on issues of business and reviving the local economy. It is and must feel like tough times out there. Tough if you're in business, tough as a consumer, tough too for the voluntary organisations that connect us and help to pick up the pieces often as well. And it's easy to think, oh, things will get better, another 6 months, another 12, 18 months, things will get better. And actually a more pessimistic view is that this is the new normal. This is the way that the economy is going to feel for some time now. And therefore the only way forward is not going to be big government programmes or white knights kind of around the corner, but to think about what we can do in terms of bootstrap economic development. I think that means a new level of sophistication in what we have been doing in terms of regeneration and renewal. We've got the idea that there are business opportunities that can be part of civic action, but we need to start knitting these together to think about how to sustain and to revive a local economy. It's not particularly fashionable, actually. Usually when you think about economics, it is macroeconomics. It is what happens at the national level. In other countries, they're more used to the idea that actually municipal authorities or third sector leaders have a key role to play in terms of economic revitalisation, sustaining and renewing high streets, keeping a mix of enterprises, building local jobs, helping to fill in, plug the leaks in the famous phrase, by trying to ensure that actually businesses who need inputs can source those from nearby. That may be bed and breakfasts, getting local food, it can be many other services as well. Now, one of the parts of this is the cooperative business model, and I'll start with an example of a toy shop, Busy Bee Toys, just to illustrate actually the tough conditions and climates for shops out there in the present. You tend to think that if a business goes bust, and there are many in high streets, boarded up shops, charity shops coming in, it's because their customers have left them. But it's a bit more complicated than that. If you look at it, nowadays margins are so tight, particularly in retail, that if you have 100 customers, it's not that you lose 50 of those customers, or even 30 or 20, but if you lose 5 of those customers, if 5 of your 100 customers go to online shopping or to out-of-town supermarkets, margins are so tight that can bring the business down. So that's a kind of a tyranny of minority, if you like, because 95 people lose out from that local facility, as well as people losing their jobs behind the till as well. So the key for successful local enterprise is about rebuilding loyalty. Now, Busy Bees was a toy shop that was facing closure, and it was bought out by the local community, in essence, local people who said, we want this toy shop in this area, we know that there's a need for a toy shop, there's enough mums to think they're going to be spending money there. And they used the cooperative business model to repurchase Busy Bee Toys, which is now trading very successfully. And the key is that the cooperative model is a member-owned model. So it is a social enterprise, and we use the same language, but it's owned by the people that are close to the business. Now that may be the customers in the case of Busy Bees. It may sometimes also be the workers as well. Wonderful, distinctive businesses like kind of the handmade bakery, in the Dales, or kind of Unicorn, are owned by the workers as well. And there's a third model which I'll come on to. But that model of where you spread ownership and you give everybody a stake, it's one member, one vote rather than £1, one vote, rebuilds loyalty. So people will shop there and will give it their business. So what we find is that the cooperative model can work where other business models may not be able to succeed. You can also use the cooperative model to raise share capital. One of the attractions of the Industrial and Provident Society model, that's one of the legal models for a cooperative, is that you can raise share capital relatively easy. And these kinds of community share issues, championed by kind of groups like Locality, for example, Plunkett Foundation too, have been absolutely key in getting an equity base for business, because you need a strong enough capital base to be able to work as a business. Now, the third form of cooperative is a cooperative that is owned by other businesses. So it's businesses getting together to do things better at scale. And there's growing examples of these, such as purchasing cooperatives, for example, where you're buying in bulk for a number of businesses. Cooperatives where venues or tourist attractions get together because they want to market more widely together, bringing people into the town, but with actually different destinations. They're not just competing with each other, but they can cooperate as well. And famously, farmers as well will come together in agricultural cooperatives, or link through to consumers through farmers' markets or the like. And this form of secondary cooperation builds the linkages in the local economy, and it creates opportunities. So it is tough times. We know that we have to draw on our own resources. We have to look to what our strengths are, to look for the root causes of success in terms of renewal, our assets, our cultural distinctiveness, but also our people and our entrepreneurship, and using cooperative models alongside other forms of action, voluntary action and the like, can be one powerful ingredient for renewal. I wish you very well.
Lovely. Thanks, Ed. That's great.